Coming up on Agweek TV, after a wet start, the planting season is finally wrapping up for some.
Farmers start getting the first results of a large UAV test being run in a corridor of eastern North Dakota.
And we get educated on where your favorite cut of meat comes from. Welcome to Agweek TV. I'm Shauna Olson. Farm technology has seen big advancements in the past 20 years or so, and now a slice of eastern North Dakota farmland is the first in the nation to be mapped by a large unmanned aircraft. Agweek's Rose Dunn was at the Hillsboro airport when the first images were released to some of the farmers in that test area.
Shauna, many farmers use drones to get a bird's eye view of their fields, but the advantage of this big UAV is that it can fly at higher altitudes, cover more ground faster, and give much more precise information about their crops. Jason Rayner grows corn and soybeans near Findlay, North Dakota. He appreciates how advances in farm tech have made his operation more efficient.
We're just trying to use all the tools available us to do the best job we can with the land we got.
And with this new UAV, he can expect faster, more accurate, more frequent images than those from the R7 satellite tool he and many other farmers currently use.
Right there's the farm. So if you pull up 95.
The images will also be a tool for precisely targeting variable rate fertilizers. That means cutting input costs and increasing yields.
The theory is it's going to be a lot more precise, and we'll be able to do stand counts from the air, which you can't do with the R7 tool right now. See if you got some water issues, see if there's going to be a problem with maybe an outbreak of insects earlier in the season.
The study area covers a corridor in eastern North Dakota, 40 miles long and 4 miles wide. It's taking images at 4,000, 6,000, and 8,000 feet. Lower altitudes give more detailed images of the crops, but higher altitudes cover more ground faster.
Our goal is to see if we can do it at the highest possible altitude. So that would be the most economical way. But I think in addition to saving farmers money, I hope that we can help them raise their yield. Because if you look at farmers across North Dakota, those that are the most profitable are the ones that have the highest yields.
Jason Rayner is happy to have any new tool that helps him be a better farmer and steward of the land.
It's very interesting, and that's why I wanted to be in on it, just to see if it's going to help us. You know, I'm always looking for new ways to improve and expand and do a better job with the land I have.
The large UAV is owned by Elbit Systems of Israel. The NDSU project is a public-private partnership funded by the North Dakota Department of Commerce. NDSU is holding a series of meetings in the test region this summer. For more information, contact your extension agent.
This week's first crop stop takes us to southeastern South Dakota, where Michael Pates found heavy rains caused planting delays and changed some plans.
So we have Rufus and Barnum here, and we're going to stop here at Humboldt, South Dakota, and talk to Matt Sieverding and see how that planting season has been going for him.
We were planning on planting corn, and we had rain every other night or every night here for a long stretch when we were going to plant corn, so we ended up switching our mind over to switching beans. So basically we switched all of our crops to beans this year.
Do you feel like they're planted timely then?
Instead of banking on 50 bushel beans, I'm running my numbers off of 35 and 40 bushel beans now, so we're too late to even put fertilizer on.
I think in the month of May we were at a little over 4.5 inches. And in June here, we saw a little bit at the beginning of the month, probably an inch, but so far it's been dry now for a few days.
And so what kind of a season has it been to plant this year?
Corn was pretty reasonable. We got that in a timely fashion, and beans have been kind of a struggle. We've been wet here.
How many of the beans are unplanted yet?
We're down to 80 of my own and about 200 custom work to do.
So with Barnum and Rufus, this is Michael Pates at Humboldt, South Dakota for Agweek TV.
Our next stop takes us a little to the north to Turton, South Dakota. The region is among the nation's top corn and soybean producers. Corn thrives on heat and moisture, and Jonathan Knutson found it's getting plenty of both in that area.
Corn needs heat to develop properly. Farmers here in the Turton, South Dakota area are getting plenty of heat today.
Right now, after the rainfall we've had, everything's looking great. I mean, you go east of here, they probably got a little bit more rain, and then north of us, and so right now we're setting perfect. But if the weather stays high and dry like it is, the wind, by the end of June we'll be looking for rain.
Moisture is spotty. Some fields need more, but there's a fighting chance for a good crop. For Agweek, I'm Jonathan Knutson.
Board says more growers planted sunflowers this year because of the good prices in the spring. Turton's also in the heart of the dairy corridor. The only canola planted in Clay County in west central Minnesota is now looking good. Earlier this season, Steve Rodke told us he was switching out some of his wheat acres because of the low prices. He planted canola for the first time in 15 years. It survived a mid-May frost and is now in full bloom. The field is located along Highway 10 south of Holly. If you want to drive by and take a look, there's still time. Rodke hopes it will bloom for a couple more weeks.
This is kind of the good part of the growing of the crop. Everything else after this is going to be a risk. You always worry about the hail and whatnot, but according to what I've been penciling out and what the market's doing, and if the ground works out for next year, I'm probably going to drop more wheat acres and go more to canola. And that all depends on how the harvesting goes.
In addition to the pretty yellow blossoms, canola has a pungent smell. And if you listen, the field buzzes with the sound of bees. Rodke plans to harvest by Labor Day and deliver it to Cargill in West Fargo before he harvests his soybeans. Do you know where your favorite cut of meat comes from? We'll find out next on AgweekTV.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Total Ag Industries is the leader in total control. Their custom-built fertilizer systems are the crown jewel of the Total Ag lineup. Total Ag systems come with a fully customizable fill system, and the variable rate hydraulic drive system works with John Deere displays for real-time feedback and complete fertilizer monitoring. Total Ag's field-tested design allows precise control and accurate application in your fields for better yields and more profit. Contact Total Ag by phone or visit totalag.com.
When you need electricity way out here, you better get yourself one mighty long extension cord. Or better yet, a portable Honda generator from Home of Economy. Rugged, dependable, and so quiet, you won't miss a sound. Pick one up today at the guaranteed lowest price, only at Home of Economy, where your dollar buys more.
We're in prime grilling season, so last week I went to the NDSU Meat Lab and learned about some common and not so common cuts for the grill. This week, I got a first-hand look at exactly where those cuts come from, thanks to Meat Lab manager Austin Germolis. Because as consumers, we typically know what cuts we like, but we don't always know where they're from and how much that affects the taste and tenderness.
We have half a beef that we're going to look at. And we have a forequarter, and then we have a hindquarter. What we always take and what we call rib the carcass makes it more manageable to move. These are 400 to 450 pound sides. I'm a big guy, but I can't lift 400 pounds. So we take and break them down so we can move them around a lot easier. Plus it helps us determine quality grade, which is marbling. So how much fat is in the muscle itself. And then a yield grade, how much meat are we going to get out of this carcass?
Austin, what are some of the most important cuts we should know about where they come from on the animal?
There's muscles of locomotion, which are the muscles that move us forward, hold us up. Those are going to be in the round. So up here is the round. It's lean. It's going to be a little tougher than your muscles that are located down the back. These would be called our muscles of posture or our tender cuts.
Okay.
So anything that comes from this middle region is going to be a steak. A steak or a pretty tender roast like a prime rib. So we're going to cook this as a whole roast and then basically cut steaks from it. If we want a ribeye steak, same thing. We're going to cut a steak from that rib loin, and that's going to be our ribeye steak. A really popular cut during the summertime, right here. Can you name that for me? Any idea?
I have no idea.
It's actually the brisket.
Ah, yes.
Very popular in Texas, but I like to say here in North Dakota we know how to cook them just as well.
I feel like I don't. I never get them right.
My favorite. We talked about the tenderloin. Inside the carcass is actually where the tenderloin is located. If you ever overextend your back and you have that pain, you probably pulled your tenderloin.
Pulled your tenderloin?
So that's located, it doesn't do much unless you tweak your back.
Oh, okay, I was gonna ask where that tenderloin came from.
Right, and then in that same area is the porterhouse and T-bone steaks.
Okay.
So the tenderloin is actually a part of the porterhouse steak.
Okay.
If we were gonna take and remove the bones, we'd get a New York strip or a strip steak, and then we'd have a tenderloin steak. Down here in the chuck are gonna be some very, very flavorful pieces of meat because of fat, and we always associate fat with flavor. We both love prime rib, and during the holiday season, especially Christmas, prime ribs are pretty popular, and
it's a
we like
at my house.
we like to indulge ourselves. And a little joke that we have is whenever we eat too much, we get the meat sweats.
I was gonna ask you what the meat sweats are.
Yeah, it's just overindulging yourself in a really good cut. But where the prime rib comes from on a carcass is actually what we call the rib loin, which is this small section right here. And it's part of a muscle that extends all the way from the front, almost all the way to the back of the animal.
Well, Austin, we sure learned a lot today about meat and everything that goes with it. Thanks so much for your expertise.
Well, thank you for coming, Shauna. I had a pleasure talking to you about all the great cuts that can be bought and cooked over the summertime.
And now we know what the meat sweats are too, officially.
Right.
A group of 4-H students was also in the NDSU Meat Lab with us. They were judging meat for the state 4-H contest with hopes of moving on to nationals in January. Adam Beardstead from Pipestone, Minnesota says it was a tough task to learn at first, but he says he has a great coach and now judging meat is much easier.
Most of the time you're judging on quality, so how much marbling is in the meat, because the marbling makes the meat taste better. And then you're also judging on trimness, which is how much fat is external on the meat, and that's what consumers look at in the grocery store.
Beardstead's family raises beef cattle and hogs, and they also crop farm. Growing season is going strong. Your AgriWeather Outlook is up next. And later, a look at some weather damage in the Northern Valley this week.
What I believe sets us apart is the way our products are crafted. Every frame has to have a precision to it that you don't see in other brands. It's what makes it a true Minn Kota window.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you that the next Grand Forks area equipment and truck auction will be at the Alaris Center July 21st. Now is the best time to turn no longer needed units into working capital before harvest. Our auctions always feature strong marketing, online bidding, and great facilities. We deliver strong equipment knowledge and are known for the best regional returns. Decades of knowledge, steady innovation, and top results. The auction is July 21st and the ad deadline is June 24th. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
North Country Marketing is your weed and mosquito control headquarters, carrying the Easy Rider ATV-mounted sprayer, pull-type ATV sprayers, 3-point sprayers with 6-foot to 30-foot booms, utility vehicle-mounted sprayers, 48-inch pull-type weed rollers, and the new 72-inch model. We also carry walk-behind weed rollers and estate sprayers. North Country Marketing has the sprayers you need for this season, and we ship anywhere. Contact North Country Marketing toll-free or visit us at northcountrymarketing.biz.
It's hard not to take pride in what I do. I think everyone here sees the value in what they're creating. We work hard to make every window a true Minn Kota window.
We just passed midsummer, or the first day of summer, depending on where you live. Across the United States, the summer solstice is known as the first day of summer. Over in Europe, they call it midsummer. Obviously, it's the highest point in the sky of the sun. In terms of weather, it's probably neither one. But one thing that often happens this time of year is it gets really hot in the southwestern United States. Earlier this week, Death Valley broke their June record at 126 degrees. That's hot. What does that mean for our weather? Well, the hot weather in the southwest creates an area of low pressure in the southwest, and that affects moisture. And this year, that moisture of supply may really affect the weather in more ways than usual. There's our area of low pressure developing. It draws moisture in from the Gulf of California and the Gulf of Mexico. Some of that gets up into the Midwest and northern plains at times from either direction. Of course, frontal action from weather systems will knock it back sometimes, but this year, because the heat is so extreme in the southwest, the draw of moisture may be stronger than usual. So point is, when we get hot and humid, we might be really hot and humid this summer. That's the way it's looking to me right now, and this may last through July and August. The actual forecast for June, the hot weather will be centered in the southwest. Most of the nation, though, will be above average, I think. One area from Wichita down to Houston will be about average, but it's hot from Wichita to Houston in July, so the whole country is going to be warm. There's going to be a lot of evaporation. Stretching it out to the rest of the growing season, it's looking generally above average across the country. I think the real heat will be focused in the mountains and in pockets along the eastern seaboard, but it's going to be a lot of hot weather. Not continuously hot. I'm not saying this will be the hottest summer of record, but there will be plenty of warm spells and heat waves to deal with. Rainfall in June, dry weather for the most part out west, quite wet, I think, along the Gulf Coast. The rest of us, near average to below average. There probably will be a few pockets of above average moisture from big-time thunderstorms from all that humidity, but overall we'll probably be coming out of July a little bit drier than we are now. For the rest of the summer overall, I say no clear forecast. Dry in the west, moist in the Gulf. By no clear forecast, I mean there will be pockets too wet, pockets too dry. So keep that in mind. This week, one little past piece of stormy weather through the Midwest, most of the West fairly dry. This will be somewhere through the northern part of the Corn Belt. The rest of us will have areas of rain and areas that are a little bit dry. In other words, typical midsummer fare. The first full week of July, we're stretching it, still looking at dry weather in the West, still looking for areas of too much or too little across the rest of the country, which is significant considering that the weather will be above average temperature-wise. So here's what we're saying. With monsoon season coming and warmer than average temps expected the rest of the summer, evaporation over rainfall.
We believe in a fair and balanced approach to state and federal regulation. Proposed changes to OSHA's anhydrous ammonia policy, EPA's Waters of the U.S., the Clean Air Act, and endangered species are a few examples of what we are facing. The one-size approach doesn't work for North Dakota. Agriculture Commissioner Doug Goring wants to work with you to protect our state. Go to our website to see the latest issues that affect not only agriculture today, but for future generations.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Commitment. You need it to succeed on the farm. It's total dedication to the land, family, and community. It's more than a way to make a living. It's a way of life. You've had it since the first time you ran your hands through the soil, helped bale hay, or rode along in the combine. Your commitment. It's as strong as your family's trust, as honest as each long day you put in, and as pure as the opportunity that comes with every tomorrow. It's how we build our bins. With proven design, superior structural integrity, a lifetime warranty, and a promise to stand with you, no matter what storms come your way. The harvest will always be protected, so you can sell when it's right for you, your family, and your farm. Commitment. It's why we can say, there's nothing standard about superior.
Where do you go for the latest news in agriculture? Agweek magazine. Reaching over 30,000 farmers and ranchers in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Montana. Agweek provides the most up-to-date information on the markets, the trends, and the people who make it all happen. We're your source for news, not fluff. Dependable, trusted. Agweek. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-811-2580.
AgweekTV, sponsored by Peterson Farm Seed.
Some farmers in the northern Red River Valley are dealing with crop losses to severe flooding. Severe storms recently destroyed buildings and equipment, took down trees, and caused power outages in the Grafton, Minto, and Forest River area. But for some farmers, it also destroyed their livelihood. The Rudnick family has had more than 16 inches of rain in the past month and has had to pump water off their land. Steve Rudnick says the crops are pretty much destroyed.
We've never had this much water, not even in the springtime. It's never backed up this bad. And there's overland flooding to the east, and there's more water coming from the west.
Grand Forks County Extension Agent Mike Knutson says several crops have been affected by the storms, including sugar beets, corn, and soybeans. He says some losses may be covered by insurance. This week's photo of the week comes from Erica Brown. It's a beautiful shot of the sunrise over their wheat field near Hannah, North Dakota. If you want to see your photo on AgweekTV, email it with a description of what's happening to photos@agweek.com. Coming up on AgweekTV, the new president of SDSU says agriculture is a top priority. We hear from him next.
How did we become the region's largest independent seed company? By taking a very simple but powerful stand. We will sell no seed that we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm. Peterson Farm Seed. Stand tall.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
North Dakota soybean farmers put food on tables all over the world, including their own. That's why it's important that we produce healthy, safe, affordable food. It's also important that we keep up with demand. Today's farmer feeds 155 people per year. Compare that to a farmer only 2 generations ago who produced enough for just 26. Most North Dakota farms are still family-owned and operated because our care of the land that feeds the world today is our children's legacy for tomorrow.
It's time to demand more. With Micro Essentials, you get more from every acre. Through our fusion technology, only Micro Essentials combines 4 vital nutrients into 1 powerful granule, ensuring uniform nutrient distribution and increased nutrient uptake. The innovation behind our fusion technology means you'll grow stronger, healthier plants. Micro Essentials. Get more from every acre.
SDSU's new president isn't new to the school or agriculture. Barry Dunn had been dean of the school's College of Agriculture and Biological Sciences. In the past few years, he's overseen millions of dollars in expansion and improvements in that college. And now he plans to ensure that the university's commitment to ag stays strong. Agweek's Mikkel Pates talked with Dunn about his new challenge.
South Dakota's biggest industry is agriculture, and so it makes sense that South Dakota State University, its land-grant university, is headed by a strong agriculturist.
Fall enrollment for 2016 is up again, so lots of interest in agriculture from people interested in animal science, plant science, but also ag leadership, ag education. It's really lots of interest in agriculture. We've really become a regional university all across South Dakota, but also Minnesota, southern Minnesota, northwest Iowa, and northeast Nebraska. I worked with the deans of the other colleges. There were 6 of us who were very good friends, worked very well together. I'll turn to them for advice and help understanding their areas. So I think I'll be okay. I've got good friends to help me. All of our goal is the same, which is healthy, productive, vibrant communities and societies.
Folks who hold South Dakota's land-grant university dear hope that Barry Dunn will be a great president for South Dakota State University. For AgweekTV in Brookings, South Dakota, this is Mikkel Pates.
Dunn grew up on a South Dakota ranch and received his bachelor's and master's degree at SDSU. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com. See you next week.